Good morning, everybody. Wow, coming to you live from the backyard. PR is making her rounds. Others are out walking, and she is not, and that's just not satisfactory. Not to her. Another beautiful day, and speaking of beautiful, how are you, my beautiful friends? Can you see where we're at? We are in the backyard. This is a swimming pool. This swimming pool has water in it. I have feet in water. Yay! Look at that. I know it's a miracle. There is still work to be done. Okay. One, I will fill you in. We did not have a video yesterday because I will get into it and let you know everything. Believe me. But it was just another one of those heck of a days. And um, let's see. Let's backtrack. I'll just kind of talk about the pool for a minute here. This is right now fresh water. There are no chemicals in it. The acid wash people came by. I did post that video, I think. I will look back and make sure that I posted that video. But the Pebble Deck people, Laguna Pools, really nice group of people that, I mean, if you're local to Tucson and you are needing to refinish your pool, resurface it, whatever, highly recommend them. Really, really a good group of people. And communicative, which I, as you know, appreciate. And they show up basically when they say they're going to. I say basically, we expected them at one time yesterday, and they were a couple hours later than that. But they came and they got right to work and did their job, and were still, pleasant. So, highly recommend Laguna Pools for any surfacing work that you need to do. Good people. So he had told us, as I mentioned in the video, put the hoses in the pool, let it go overnight, should be fine. And let it go overnight. I woke up in the morning, it still needed more water. It wasn't at the halfway point of the skimmer. I told Jeff, keep an eye on it, halfway point, make sure you turn it off. I got home, the water was all the way up to the travertine. It's like, oh God, okay. I said, Jeff, and the water was still going. I'm like, Jeff, the water. He's like, I turned one hose off. I said, it was only supposed to go halfway up halfway up to the skimmer. And he's like, well, it wasn't near there. I'm like, well, it's getting ready to overflow right now. And he's like, oh, and he went outside and turned it off. So Ruben came by, the tile guy, because he did the stucco on the outside of the pool. And we'll walk around the pool later. I'll do another pool video. But anyway, he had some work to do with the skimmer, and he said he wasn't going to be able to do it because the water was too full. I told him, I said, listen, I will start bucketing water out. Don't worry about it. He goes, that's a lot of buckets of water. He said, that Marcos is supposed to come tomorrow, which he should have been here yesterday, was supposed to come tomorrow to take care of the chemicals for the pool. And he said, I'm sure he has a pump. We can just pump it out. And I'm like, are you sure? I will be happy. I want you to be able to do your job. He's like, I'm going to have to come back anyway. They didn't have the one part. I said, okay. All right, fine. So that was the end of that conversation. Ruben finished up what he was doing and he left. And I had my chairs came. I told you I ordered the chairs, so they came, and they got dropped, of course, at the front door. My sister popped over to the house just to get out of her office for a minute, and I said, oh, while you're here, will you help me just move these boxes into the backyard? So just do a little team lift with me. Oh. Well, it's a little windy, guys. I hope you're okay. None the worse for the wear, right? Oh my goodness. Are you okay? Hope you didn't get hurt. The wind took you. The wind took you for a ride. Well, let's see. How can I possibly secure you? I don't know that I can. So sorry about that. I did try to catch you before you fell. I got you stacked back up there. Okay. So my sister, we have this alarm on the back door right now because it's required. And you can bypass it by pressing the button, but it only stops for briefly. So I had said to Jeff, who was sitting on the couch watching TV, I said to him, can you, well, let me back up. So that was just an update on the pool. Okay. Rewind. Woo. And just yesterday. Okay. So yesterday, I got up extra early. You may recall from a previous video that Jeff had a very early dentist appointment at the VA in Tucson and needed me to take him. I think we're a little crooked. No, let me see here. I think that's, I'd like to say I think that's better, but I'm not sure. I may just be tilting you one way or the other. Okay. So anyway, he had that 9 o'clock appointment in Tucson. So I got up extra early yesterday to get my workout in because I don't want to be a slacker, right? So I got up at 4:30. I left the house by 5:15. I was to my sister's by 5:30, did my workout from 5:30 to 6, came home, changed, in the car, out the door by 7, and got to the VA with about 30 minutes to spare, which was good, and got him all checked in. And he wanted to go to vascular because he's been trying to make an appointment since he had that last episode with vascular. And I said, okay, I'll find it and I'll see about making the appointment. So once he got called in to the dentist, I found the vascular services department and made an appointment for Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, not a big deal. I'll take my work with me. I can do my work pretty much from anywhere, as long as I don't have something I need to print, because I don't have a mobile printer right now. So get that made. We run to Costco, come home, and he said, when we got home, the trash man had come. So he grabbed the empty trash can from the foot of the driveway and walked it up the drive. And I came in the house and he was all winded and he's like, I have to sit down. I said, okay, sit down. So he sat down. He said he was feeling winded. I feel like you're going to blow away again. I just don't think I have a way to secure you. So he was just kind of said he was feeling a little bit dizzy, a little bit winded, out of breath. I said, okay, sit down. Don't worry about it. I can finish unloading the car. And then he started feeling a little better. I asked him if he was hungry. He said yes, because he hadn't eaten. So I made him a chicken sandwich and, or he didn't want a sandwich. He just wanted chicken. So I just tore up some chicken and threw it in a bowl for him. Gave that to him. And he said he was feeling a little better. And he got up to make himself a drink and he's kind of leaning with his head on the refrigerator. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I feel dizzy. I said, well, go sit down. I'll get you a drink, So he goes, he sits down. I give him his drink. I asked him if he was hungry and he said, yeah, can I have a sandwich this time? So I made him a little sandwich and he said he felt much better after the sandwich. And he got up to do something else and said he was feeling dizzy again. I said, just sit down. Just sit down. And then my sister came over and I asked her to help me move the boxes into the backyard. And she did. And we get the first box moved into the backyard. Jeff gets up off the couch. All he has to do is push the button. My sister's out the door. I'm 2 feet out the door, but we don't have the box set down yet. Jeff stumbles backward, falls onto the couch, and he's looking very disoriented. And I'm looking at him. My sister's like, this is what's happening? I said, apparently so. And she's like, is there something I can do? I'm like, no, that's okay. So I went and I tended to Jeff, and my sister brought the other box in. And then she had to go. And I told Jeff, I said, I need you to call your primary care. He's like, I just felt dizzy. I felt like I was going to pass out. I said, okay, call your primary care doctor now. And then he says to me, I can't do that. I can't drive. And I said, you don't have to do anything but pick up your phone and push a button. I want you to call your primary care now. They need to know what's going on in as real time as possible. So he gets on with the VA clinic here in Sierra Vista, and they listen to him. They put him on with a nurse. The nurse puts him on with an ER doc. VA ER doc listens to everything that he and I have to say. And then she says, you really should go to the ER. This is my recommendation. She said, your body is giving you all kinds of little signs. None of this is normal. You are getting little signs. These symptoms are little signs that there is something bigger at play. You need to go. She said, I too think that it has something maybe to do with the carotid artery. She said, this isn't a dehydration thing, and this is not normal, so you should go to the ER. Can you do that? And he's starting to fuss. He's like, no, I can't. I have a commitment. I have a meeting I have to go and open for. I'm like, and she says to me, she goes, and what do you think? I said, well, I think that you are the professional and you know far more than I do and on this subject. And if you're recommending we go to the ER, then okay, we should go to the ER. And she's like, okay. And she looks at Jeff and she's like, and Jeff, are you going to go to the ER? And he's like, well, he says, I have to open the meeting. I can open my meeting at 6 and then I can hand it off to somebody and then I can go. She goes, negotiations. Okay, I'm happy with negotiations. And she said, and by the time you get there, she said, it'll be closer to 8 o'clock and the ER should be quieter and you shouldn't have as long a wait. So he made a phone call. As soon as we hung up the phone, he made a phone call and got somebody to come to the house and pick up the keys and stuff. His dedication to his program is wonderful, but at the cost of his health is not. So I'm glad that he thought to make a phone call, and thank you very much to the gentleman that, basically dropped everything and came to help out. So the meeting was able to go on. And I took Jeff. We grabbed PR, grabbed Jeff. He packed a bag because he asked the doctor, he goes, well, should I pack a bag? And the doctor said, yeah, probably you should. So he packed a bag and I threw everything in the car and down to Tucson we went. I say down, I don't think Tucson is down, but to Tucson we went. Tucson, VA. For the second time yesterday. And he's like, gosh, if we knew this, we could have just stayed. I said, well, if we knew this, we would be making money hand over fist because we'd know all kinds of things. And so we get to the VA, we check in at the ER. The telenurse or teledoctor said that there would be notes in the system, so they would be well aware of what's happening when we get there. But there was no way to really alert them that we were coming. And I said, okay. So we got there and he checked in and we sat for 3.5 hours in the waiting room. Not exaggerating, one little bit. 3.5 hours before they took him back. They triaged him. Every 2 hours, they come out and they redo vitals. But 3.5 hours for somebody that's having shortness of breath and passing out. which I'm going to go on the more optimistic side and say, thank God my husband wasn't any of those people that were in worse shape that needed to be seen before him. But how bloody short staffed are they? Or how little space do they have to not be able to accommodate in a more timely manner? There was a gentleman there who had severe pains. I mean, to me, it sounded like kidney stones kind of thing. But the last time that he came to the VA ER, he said he and his wife waited 6 hours to be seen. Crazy. Another guy that was there had been there already for 4 hours and they hadn't seen him. And he came because the night before he had, out of the blue, had a seizure. And his wife was not even sure what to do. And he was in really good shape. I mean, he was an ex-SEAL and still in that kind of great shape. So I know that our medical, across the board, our medical facilities need help in multiple ways. We need, we're understaffed, may not have enough space, and the Tucson VA is huge, by the way. Oh my God. It's huge. While he was having his dentist appointment, when I made the vascular appointment, I decided to walk PR outside instead of trundle back through the hospital. And even the grounds were huge and beautiful, and they had a really nice fitness trail, and they even had a labyrinth there. I thought, ooh, that's nice. Maybe I shouldn't have thought, ooh, that's nice. We ended up back there. I just didn't get to take advantage of the labyrinth. Anyway, so he finally gets back after 3.5 hours. They take him back, and I mean, in between, they ran tests. Like they took him and did a chest X-ray. They did an EKG. They had all that stuff. So when he went back, and the doctor had all the information in front of him, and then the doctor came out to talk to me, and he said, he was telling me his thoughts, and he said, yeah, you should follow up with vascular. And I started telling him the story I had relayed to you all. I said, did he tell you this? Did he tell you that? And he's like, well, no. And I said, okay, well, this is what's been happening, and this is when it started, because I told him about the whole thing coming back from the Lavender Fest. He's like, oh. He goes, although the vascular thing is important and needs to be taken care of, he said the symptoms he's presenting with really they're not from the clogged arteries. He said that's not in alignment. He said, if you were to tell me he turns his head and drops down, that would make sense, because then you're kind of pinching an artery that's already clogged, and you could be that's the way he explained it, and then you could be like basically like completely stopping the flow. However, he said, even though his blood work is pristine, he said everything about his blood work was great. PR, stop digging. Everything about his blood work. He said all his levels, everything was perfect. His EKG was normal for him. They compared it to other EKGs they had. He said, however, all of that doesn't show everything about the heart. He said, that he could have a stenosis. He could have other things. And like an echo would be the way to check for the stenosis, and, do a stress test and all of that. He said that he would recommend him being admitted to the hospital and let them let cardiac run all these tests on him tomorrow. I said, okay. And then Jeff comes out of the ER, and we were talking, and he's like, well, if that's what you think we need to do, then okay. So I went to the car and I got his bag, and they kept him overnight. Now, I did talk to Jeff this morning at about 7:15, and he was still in the ER. They did not move him to a room. Again, I don't know. What is it? Our hospitals are so overworked or understaffed or too small. I'm going to go with that they're understaffed. They probably have the rooms and the beds available, but they don't have the staff to open another wing. That's going to be my best guess. So, poor guy had spent the night in the ER and they haven't fed him. They told him they didn't want him to eat. They didn't give him any of his medications. So, hopefully, he doesn't get extra sick from not having his medications. So, that's the story with Jeff and his health. And that's why we didn't get a video in yesterday. I wanted to make a video on the drive home. We had two obstacles in the way. One, I have a new phone case and it doesn't have the magnetic ring on the back. And two is that it was dark and I can't have a light shining in my eyes. Let's see. Oh, okay. Jeff just texted me. Look at you guys getting on the spot in the moment. You are getting an update. He just texted and said he just had the echo. Okay, so yeah, we're so horribly understaffed, and like I said, I think that we have the space in the hospitals. I don't think we have the staff for the hospitals. And I can only say that based on my knowledge of time in the hospital in the past. I know that at one point we were at JFK Hospital in Lake Worth, Florida, and that was the situation. You know, the nurses told us, we've got the beds. We don't have the staff to open another wing. So I was like, okay. So I guess that's why he's sitting in the ER. That's going to be my assumption. And I know that medically we're understaffed. I mean, my doctor's office, we have ARNP students like crazy, which we've already talked about. So you know all of that. That's the Jeffrey update. You got a little swimming pool update. PR is good. Also, interesting thing about this VA hospital, they wouldn't allow her in as a service dog. They said, including service dogs, that she would not be allowed in. And he was going to raise a fuss. And I said, know what we learned, right? What we learned from something that happened in Florida. The only exemption to service dogs being allowed to go anywhere that their human is some government buildings and religious institutions can choose to or not allow service dogs. So I said, you can't put up too much of a fuss. And he did complain to the doctor, and the doctor said that he is in total agreement, and like all the staff that works there are in total agreement that the service, registered service animals should be allowed in. And he strongly recommended to Jeff that he goes ahead and he writes a letter, and like everybody should be writing letters to the board of the hospital, to get that changed. So since Jeff is still in the ER, we know PR can't go in. It's not going to do me any good to go there with her because I'm going to be sitting in a lobby. I'm going to reach out to my sister and ask her, and I say ask her, but I know she'll do it, to watch PR while I run back up to Tucson later. However, I had to, because of all this, cancel my classes for today, and one, be here because we're supposed to have the contractor come for the pool because he's supposed to do all the initial chemicals and show us how everything operates and how to take care of it. So all of that is supposed to happen today. And I need to be here for that. He was supposed to be here between 7 and 8. And it is 8:40. I texted him at 7:40. And, well, actually, I texted a little before 8. And I told him that I had bucketed the water out of the pool. And although I cannot tell 100%, I think we are slightly over the halfway point of the skimmer, I would continue to bucket out. Was it better to be over or under? And he said it should be fine, not to worry about it, and that he was just getting on the highway. And I said, by just getting on the highway, that means you're about an hour away? And he said yes. So depending on where he's getting on the highway from, he's actually like an hour and a half away. Had I not texted about that, I probably wouldn't have heard from him. It's almost over. Ruben does have to come out and finish with the skimmer, and he did a great job with the stucco. He does excellent work. I think he's an independent contractor. So if anybody's in the Tucson area and you need to have tile work done, stucco, what have you, what are you acting like that for, you crazy girl? So there's another dog getting a walk outside, and she's just, I'll have to show you if we can catch her. There she is over there. Just, oh, she's just so upset. Oh, 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 little butt up in the air. She's trying to get her nose through the opening there. So in these brick walls, the bottom of the brick, let's see, the bottom of the brick is kind of got a little cut open, and so that water can flow out. That one's a little bit closer. Yep, that's the bucket I was using to bucket water out. I will say the upside to me bucketing the water out was that the artichoke cactus on the other side of the wall got their first watering in a year. And they got plenty of water, so hopefully the ground sucks it up and they can just release it back in. And here's the pool. These are my feet in the pool. Ta-da! Oh yes, so nice. So nice. Now the Pebble Deck guys did tell me that we could be in this. It is fresh water, that it would not hurt anything. Let me flip you back. Okay. So that's the update on that. Oh, and yes, as it was showing, as you can see, the landscapers got started yesterday too. They painted the wall. So my grand scheme and the grand plan is to find some sort of mural, superimpose it on the wall, and then I was thinking I really want to do a mosaic with the tiles. Jeff really wants it painted. I think the mosaic is so pretty, and when the sun hits it, it would be really glimmery. We'll see. We'll see. We can paint it, and as the paint starts to fade, then I could always go back and do the tile. So then we both get a little bit of what we want. But yeah, so it's nice and bright back here. And I don't mind the wall. They were saying that they thought that maybe it was going to need another coat of paint. I think it looks good. I'm okay with this like it is. So hopefully whenever they get here, I believe the next thing for them to do is to start to grade the ground. So they will be looking at moving all the rock. They'll take the rock and they'll put it either up in the retaining wall area or off to the side here. If they can, pop it on the other side of the wall, that would be fine too, because I know we need a little extra rock over there. So once they get that all graded and leveled, he said nobody can walk on it until they're done, because he's going to be laying out those pavers and then painting those pavers and then doing the grass in between. And then all these flagstone. So if you're not familiar, let me flip. So this here is flagstone, little PR. And I'm going to have this flagstone in front of the outdoor kitchen. And then down the side of the house. So we're not going to get rid of this flagstone. And even if I did get rid of it, it goes to my sister because on the day I moved in, she said, if you ever get rid of that, you give it to me. I said, no problem. So that's it. I did notice sitting here on the wall that I've got paint on my travertine. But I will get a scraper and scrape it because I am that crazy person. Yes, I am the woman that bucketed with that blue bucket water out over the wall. I did put some on the plants that are in the retaining wall area too. And I filled Buddha up with the pool water. So I didn't waste the water, which if he had come in with the pump, I think that it really would have just been a waste down into the drain. And so we did repurpose the water. And yeah, that's everything. That's where we're at today. Not doing a walk because, well, one, I'm tired, and two, since the pool guy was supposed to be here between 7 and 8, that 7 o'clock time frame would have been her walk, and that didn't happen. It is beautiful out today, right now. I'm sure it'll get warmer, but right now it's absolutely gorgeous. And at least the water on the sun shelf feels nice. And the chairs came in, so I will get those put together. And I was going to put them together yesterday, so maybe a little divine intervention and me not putting them together, because if they're going to need all the space they can to do all the things they need to do with the grounds around the pool, and then they would just be in the way. So maybe I will leave them in the boxes and we'll put them together once we get that done. All right, that is everything from me this morning. That is your update on yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. July 1st. Happy July, everybody. I hope that it's crazy. I mean, I hope that, let me finish that sentence. I hope that you all have an amazing month of July and enjoy these summer months while we have them. But crazy, crazy, crazy to think we are on the downside of the year. You know, crazy that it's July already. Like we're beyond the halfway point of the year, and we're now starting that whole trickle down. So August, September, July, August, September, right? This quarter is going to fly. And then come October, it's done. You might as well say goodbye to the year, because as soon as October hits, it flies with all the holidays. You've got the Halloween, we got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas, then we have New Year, and we start all over again. It's crazy how time flies so fast. But we're going to make the most out of every moment that we have. And we're not going to worry about tomorrow. We're going to stay present in this day and in this moment. And in this day and in this moment, right now, as we are here together, it's great. We are having a conversation here. Well, I'm talking to you. Hopefully you will put a conversation in the comments box. But, we are having this conversation, and it is a beautiful day outside. At least it is here. And if it's raining where you're at, well, that's okay too, because we need the rain. No matter where we're at, we need the rain. I don't think we have any flooding anywhere right now, do we? And we have the 4th of July coming up. And I know that can sometimes be, a little triggering for unsettling for our pets and some of our humans. And know that there are options that we can do. There are quiet spots. You can look. There's almost always, every town offers like a little quiet spot, especially for veterans that have PTSD. And I'm mentioning this now instead of on the 4th of July, because then you can just get and start tippity tapping on the computer to see where there might be a quiet spot near you. One of my friends in Florida would take her dog, and she and her husband would get in the car and they would drive to a quiet spot, and they would just spend a couple hours in the car having a picnic lunch where it was away from all the fireworks, because it really unnerved her dog. And I do work with veterans, so I know that the loud noises, the bangs, and everything can be really triggering. PTSD is a real thing. And not just veterans. I mean, some of us, police officers, firefighters, people that just kind of grew up in not so safe neighborhoods, may also feel like that. And we think it's pretty to watch, and we can turn the volume down on the TV and watch the fireworks across the world, um, and not have to have it affect us. So I'm mentioning it now and not on the 4th of July, like I said, just so you could get on the computer, try and find a quiet spot, or think of something like my friend did, where you can just get in the car and you'll go somewhere where they're not lighting off fireworks. Get out of that main section of town, out of the heavily populated neighborhoods, and go ahead and just find a quiet spot, pack a lunch, pick up a movie on your phone, pop it up in the car, have your own little drive-in somewhere quiet. All right, that's everything from me, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate everybody that watches, that likes, comments, shares, subscribes. I appreciate every good vibe and happy thought that's sent our way. None of that is lost on me. And I will keep you updated. And once I see our contractor today, I'll let you know everything he has to say. We'll do another little pool video. And those are coming to an end, though, once this landscaping is done. That's it. I'm sure I'll do something else at some point, but there will be a break. We got to financially recover before we start ripping and tearing somewhere else. Okay, that's it for me. I hope that here he is. I think he just said he's going for a stress test now. So the VA at least is on it and they have him going. Okay, that was it. Really, gotta go. You're tired of this. I need to go ahead and go. I think I'm going to actually have some breakfast, maybe. I will talk to you soon. See you soon. Have an amazing day. I hope that wherever you're at, that it's beautiful. Oh, and one more thing, because hopefully she is watching this at some point. A very dear friend of mine back in Florida, her son is getting married on the 3rd, and she is traveling today to go to their venue. So keeping everybody's anonymity right safe. I just know that she's one of the few that watch on a pretty regular basis. So I want to just, of course, wish her safe travels. I know that the wedding is going to be beautiful. It's small, it's intimate, and it's just going to be a lovely time that she's going to get to spend with her family. And I am just so happy for her and for her son that's getting married and welcoming the new bride into the family. So that's a really happy note to end on. I will talk to you all very soon. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, evening, no matter where you're at, and I will see you soon.